but you don't know the roles. So only the sheriff is known, and you must understand who the other players' roles are. This is a very important part. You have a lot of psychology in that, and you can play a lot of strategy in pretending you're someone else. So in the beginning of the match, everybody is a deputy, of course. There are character abilities that bend the rules somehow. So every character, every player has a character. There's 30 more and more characters, and every player has a character. The character can have special range, special overrides of the rules. There's a rule saying you can play only one bank card per turn, but there's a character who can override this rule and so on. That's a very interesting point, and it's also where our business model is based, because you can buy characters. And then it's, of course, a card-based action, so it's a board game but with cards, and there's a lot of cards, 47 cards, like Bang, Mist, Winchester. There are weapons, Mustang, the horse, dynamite, immediate, permanent and semi-permanent cards, and you can buy card decks. And I'm not talking about special cards and event cards, which will be available through DLC. So we'll show you some screens about the game, just to give you an idea. That's what it looks like in the basic configuration. You have a very useful tactical view that allows you to guess the roles of the characters and also to visualize one of the hardest parts in the board game, the distance between players. In this case, you just see numbers. You don't have to compute it yourself. This is what happens when a dynamite explodes. So even if it's a card game, it's very dynamic. A lot of things change. There's full-screen animations. All characters have been redesigned. This is when you steal a card from another player. This is when the lawfuls win. Okay. So we shown some screenshot, which is obligatory in these cases. And we'll talk about platforms. Too bad we don't have the sound of the achievement, because that will work very well. I have it here, but the microphone also doesn't work when I... This is a very important part, which will lead us to the second part of the speech. Initial platforms are iPhone, iPad, and HD, PC, netbook. The Atom netbooks are very important. On the App Store, which was not listed in the previous presentation, I was a bit surprised by that. Intel has launched their own App Store, and from this month, Asus netbooks come with the App Store built-in, and starting January, also Acer netbooks will have the App built-in. So it's a very important platform, because there's 40 million netbooks to date, and there will be 300 millions by the end of 2012. So, and that's a very, very cautious esteem. And Samsung Bada, we won a competition called, we are one of the winners of the competition called Bada Developers Challenge from Samsung. So even if it's a small platform in terms of numbers, it's very interesting. A console version is in the works, more than one maybe, and more versions are coming right after. But the most important thing is that for the first time, all these platforms can play together. This means that in a single match, you can have a player from the iPhone, another from a netbook, another from a PC, and another from an iPad, another from a Samsung Wave, another one in the future will be from an Android phone, and so on. It's the first time this happened. And this is thanks to the multi-cross technology we developed. So, just to make it clear why this is different, we are used to multiplayer. 2 or more players are playing the same game online or offline. The multi-platform, you have the same game on PC, PlayStation 3, or maybe iPhone. It's usually a different game. Sometimes you even have cross-platform gaming, which has been limited to date to just 2 very similar platforms. which is, for instance, PC versus Xbox 360. Or sometimes you have platform-neutral games, like games based on Flash on the web, like Trevian, for instance. It's independent from the kind of platform you have, or Java-based games. But all these games tend to use just a common denominator of the features of the platforms. Instead, we try to get the best from all worlds. So we have 3 or more players, up to 8 players, on the same game. We have the same game on 4 platforms to start with, but it will be many more with time. And all together in the same game. This is the part that was missing. They have exactly the same experience, and they play one versus each other. It may seem trivial, but it's a huge work to do. Because it's all native code on all platforms. So it's really optimized to run at its best on every platform. And the graphics are all optimized, and the controls are optimized for that platforms. So we call it multi-cross. We didn't have a word. In the first press release, we found out that many journalists didn't get it, not because they didn't want to get it, but because it was a different thing. So the principle is to love all platforms, not decide you have a main platforms and other platforms for which you just make sort of porting, and play all of them. We work on all platforms at the same time. Each platform has a very impressive set of features, because everyone has a damn different aspect ratio for the display. The iPhone is 3:2. The iPad is 4:3. The Samsung Wave is 16:9, but not really. It's 800 by 48, and so on. And you have to consider all this stuff, and you have to make different layouts, because this is a board game. You want perfect visual. You want people to be able to understand what's going on. So you have to redesign the layout for each of the platforms. And redesign the graphics, because on a 3G iPhone, the pixel count is quite low compared to, for instance, a Samsung Wave. But the Samsung Wave, even if you have a lot of pixels, it's still a very small screen. So you have to redesign all the cards and all the characters and the text to make people understand it very clearly. And also, each one has their own tools, their own limitations that you have to override to make it playable across the network. So it was a very big challenge. But we are not satisfied, and we're still working on more platforms. We have one of the, I think the most common request we have is Android, right? Android is one of the most requested features. So we want more. We want to make things more complicated.
Android and also Linux.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention, Migo, a very, 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 very interesting platform that is based on the Atom platform. You have these 2 giants, Intel and Nokia, agreed on Migo. Is a new version of Linux for the mobile devices, which we think will be quite important, because there's an agreement with very large TV companies to put that system and the App Store in their TV sets. We are working already with one of the largest set-top box providers in Italy for that, and this is something that will go on definitely. So what Filiera was saying, gaming is coming to the TV. It's probably coming even faster thanks to these agreements. I can't disclose more, but you will see in probably a few months. So the infrastructure works with a single server, or not really a single machine. I mean, a single software distributed on many servers that can accept, munch all the connections. So it has, of course, different code for each of the platform, but after the player connects, it's all the same. So the server handles all matchmaking and all differences. You don't know, you just know that Mogo34 has started a match. You don't care if it's a PC, it's a netbook, it's an iPhone, it's an Android or whatever. You just know that there's a gamer you can play with. We handle location in a transparent way. All the people who have location-based services on their device, we get that so that if 5 of you are in the same room, maybe with different devices, let's say different smartphones, we automatically prefer the connection through them. So if you are close, even if you are connected through different networks, but you're geographically in the same place, the server understands that you probably want to play together. If you are at 2 or 3 meters one from the other, you probably are trying to play together, and it adjusts things automatically. So in a very transparent, easy way, without creating all an infrastructure of registering, setting up something, reading an email. It's just you buy the game, you play it. And filters out all possible limits. So a very important part of the game is DLC. You can buy new characters, you can buy new card sets, but characters are an especially interesting thing because characters give you special abilities. But also the players who have not bought that character can see you playing that special character. So let's say I play with Daniele. Daniele is not a good player, so I will beat him. But I have a special character. So Daniele will think that I'm winning because I have that special characters. Actually, all characters are balanced. It's a matter of what you prefer. But Daniele will probably buy that character because he wants to win. So he wants to have the same character that I had, with which I defeated him. Then he will play again another guy, and that guy will have a new character, and Daniele will say, oh, I want that character because that character wins, and he will buy more characters. But maybe very good players can just stay with their original characters and continue to play, but they will encourage people like Daniele to buy more and more characters, and maybe eventually start to learn how to play well. So issues we've seen, and we're going close to the end. Different displays, as I said, also the colors. The Samsung Wave has an amazing super OLED display with extremely bright and strong colors. So adapt all the graphics and all the colors for that display, because the colors we set up for the iPhone are absolutely not go for the Samsung Bada. It's like punching your eyes. Different kind of interaction, single touch, dual touch, and multi-touch, and touchpad, and mouse, and the Move motion controller. Did I say that? Okay. So we are working on a console, I said, and also other kinds of motion control systems are very different and require you to recode that to make the game in a way that the player feels familiar. So has the feel also in menus and everything that it's right for that platform. The menus on the iPhone behave like an iPhone app and so on. And of course, different graphic capabilities. You can't have the detail on the cards and the normal maps on some mobile devices and so on. So recode. So you get the best in every platform. Of course, it was easier because it was a board game and not a war game.